is called Tranquility. I hope it just kind of washes over you in this beautiful venue of peace and quiet. So here we are in April, and I'd like to play from as the months go by, April. And the piano score is also available for this online through Wirrapang, our local publisher. So I wanted to read you a brief chapter from Mark My Word. Chapter 3 is about my kindergarten teacher. Who can remember their kindergarten teacher? It's called Miss Greenstreet at Taraji Public School. Who knows where Taraji Public School is? Did you go there? There you go. Was without doubt an articulate, eloquent, beautiful young woman. Always immaculately dressed, bejeweled, and often wearing her long blonde hair in a bun or beehive style. Who remembers the beehive style? 3 people do. After a couple of terms, Miss Greenstreet disappeared for a few weeks and came back as Mrs. Noble. All the boys were devastated, including myself, hoping to have married her one day. She certainly made it into the annals of the many great teachers that walked the corridors of Taraji Public School. In fact, it was quite educational for me. I met the 10-pound Poms who lived on Squires Way in Ferry Meadow. In fact, some people in my class were the sons and daughters of the 10-pound Poms, as they were called, immigrants from England to Australia. I also learned the Italian way. My friend Pasquale Nasta, we're still friends today, taught me about Italian food, parmigiana, patata, olive, salami, and all those lovely things. He would share his lunch with me. And of course, then I learned about the cars of the 1960s. Wow, were they fantastic. Miss Coles had this gorgeous metallic olive green MG. Now, I know there's a certain man in this auditorium today who has a red version of that particular MG as well. But the story now jumps forward 3 decades, 30 years, when my former wife and I were enrolling our eldest daughter, Sarah, into Fig Tree Public School. It was induction day, you know, the day when you take the apple of your eye to meet the new teacher. So we were ushered into the room, and as we settled there, in walked this well-presented, perhaps 50-plus-year-old lady who carried herself with poise and dignity, bejeweled as she was. I watched her from the time she entered the door until she turned on her heel and warmly stated, "Good afternoon, parents. Welcome to Fig Tree Public School. My name is Mrs. Noble." Mrs. Noble. My brain started to kind of trigger some memories. I looked at my former wife and said, I glanced back to this teacher, the bejeweled one, speaking so eloquently and articulately, although her voice was now becoming a distant muffle because my math brain was doing a calculation of the 30 years in between until I came to the conclusion. I said to Christine, I think this is my kindergarten teacher. She goes, you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. And at this point, the experienced educator was doing a face scan around the room as she was sharing with us all the details of the first day, and her voice was coming back into focus. And I was sitting there with a smile on my face. Without missing a beat, she clearly had done the same calculation, having spotted my face. She held out a wad of flyers about the school and confidently inquired, do you mind handing these along? Thank you, Mark. To which everyone just kind of gasped, and she said, and I smiled and said, yes, of course, Mrs. Noble, and I felt myself become the 5-year-old back in Taraji Public School again. She explained to all the parents there that she'd been my kindergarten teacher, and the moment was captured for all time. This kindled a delightful relationship over the next half a decade, as not only did she become my eldest daughter Sarah's teacher, but guess what? She even taught my youngest daughter Emily in kindergarten too. So amazing to think that this one teacher could impact my life and both my daughters' lives. It really was quite surreal and very, very special. We were so saddened, though, to hear of her passing, not long after she completed her teaching tenure at Fig Tree Public School. What an impact she'd made on us. What a wonderful role model she was, and still is today. She's in our thoughts and memories. Rest in peace, Avril Noble. Essence of the heart and soul. Eloquence is one of the pieces on this particular CD, which is available today, and also the piano score is available through Wirrapane Publishing. Hope you enjoy Eloquence. You've all heard a wind chime. In fact, you might have a wind chime at home, perhaps. They're delightful, except when at 2 o'clock in the morning, when they wake you up, and with that amazingly kind of eerie sound they make. They're often called Aeolian chimes, because in Greek, Aeolian means wind or breeze. And so I've actually written a piece which I hope emulates a little bit of the Aeolian harp, or the wind chime. And it's called Aeolian Air. Now the other thing here, just a little bit of music for you. In musical scales, we have a mode called the Aeolian mode. And it has quite an ethereal and very unusual sound to it. So I actually wrote this piece about the Aeolian harp in the mode of the Aeolian. I hope you enjoy this. It's from the album entitled Ascendance for the Heart and Soul. And the piano score is available through We're a Paying Publisher too, for the piano teachers and piano students that could be watching online today. So this is Aeolian Air. And so I've written this piece dedicated to Kimberly Davis today. I hope you enjoyed Courageous. As you know, the piano is made up of ivory keys and ebony keys. Well, they used to be. Now they're just all plastic. And rightly so in regards to the ivory, for sure. And so the ebony keys have a different tonality to the white keys. And so I decided to write an entire album. And there's 10 pieces in this album, which I wrote purely on the scale that belonged to the ebony keys. And so I've written a piece, and this is dedicated, it kind of keeps in the theme of the Eden today as well, because I have a colleague on the ABC who's a gardening expert. I don't know if anyone listens to the Compost Heap on Saturday breakfasts. It'll be on tomorrow from 8:30, for those of you who are a local ABC listener. And his name is John Gabriele. He's also known as Greenfinger the Gardener. That's his superhero name, you see. And he's also known as the Barefoot Gardener. And so John and I had parallel lives. Both grew up in Taronga, Coral area. Both went to Coral High School. Both worked for TAFE. Both worked for the ABC. And here we are, having known each other our entire lives, working together on this Saturday program. So I wrote a piece for him a few years ago, which is in this album entitled 10 Shades of Ebony, piano solos on life, love and friendship. And the piece is called Gabriele's Garden.